What's the deal with Mexican pharmacies? Is it worth actually going there to purchase certain medications and bring back to the United States? Can you even legally do such a thing? My name is Grant Harding. I'm a licensed pharmacist in 3 states and an unlicensed pharmacist in Mexico, and I decided to travel there recently to try to get an answer to some of these questions. I went into a couple Mexican pharmacies, spoke broken English with their workers, and either made them incredibly mad or incredibly happy to see me. I'm not sure which, because we really couldn't communicate at all. In any event, you'll see in this video I purchased one medication called Tramadol, which is a controlled substance in the United States and one that you have to have a prescription for. Before making my way to the medication object of my desire, I was transported into a scene of sea tranquility as a marlin was being raised and hoisted, a 520-pound marlin. I don't know why I was invited to this. But then I made my way to the pharmacy, which, as you can see, is very interesting to American eyes. Their medications, most were being used for diarrhea and were antibiotics and things that could be used short-term. A lot of different packaging that we're not used to in the United States, but one thing in particular was what I was after: Tramadol. What an iconic medication. Wow, Tramadol. I am so excited to get into this one. This is something I bought in Mexico without a prescription, and I just feel so special. I mean, this is like a dream come true for a pharmacist. I'm not going to take this on the airplane back with me to the United States. I'll explain why in a moment. But for those of you who don't know, this medication has partial opioid activity. So this is abused. And in the United States, this is a Schedule 5 medication, meaning that there are certain requirements that need to be on prescriptions, namely a DEA number from a physician. And people like to abuse this, and it's a dangerous drug. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of this medication at all. But let's turn the camera around and I'll give you guys a peek and we'll talk more about this. I have a lot to say about this medication. So this is Tramadol, which is available in the United States, but you do need a prescription and it's a controlled substance, which means there's other regulations that need to be met so that it can be dispensed. But I'm actually not a fan of this medication. So it's Schedule 5 in the United States, and a lot of people think that because it's a Schedule 5 opioid, it's safer than some of the Schedule 2 opioids, like morphine, for example, is Schedule 2. That is not the case. So Tramadol has several mechanisms of action, and some of its metabolites are also active, and I don't like that. I want to see a medication that is pure, that it does one thing and one thing only. Now, that's probably pretty much impossible, but as close as we can get to that as we can, that makes me feel a lot more comfortable. That is not this medication. So the Tramadol itself will bind to an opioid receptor, and one of its metabolites will bind to an opioid receptor. And each of them do it with different strengths, different affinities. So it makes it very difficult to predict how someone's going to react to this. Additionally, it's also a neurochemical reuptake inhibitor for serotonin and norepinephrine, which means that it can cause issues with people who take antidepressants, other SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And if you're in the medical field, you know that those are ubiquitous. Pretty much everybody is taking an antidepressant, which means this can cause issues with virtually everyone. Now, I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but you get the point. So this is 50 milligram, which is the normal dose. And another thing is because of the neurochemical reuptake inhibition, this is really bad for people who have seizures. In fact, there's a maximum dose of 400 milligrams per day. This doesn't last very long, so you have to take it a couple times a day. And people who have seizures, this is not good for them. This can cause a seizure. So I pretty much never recommend this. I bought it just because, because I'm in Mexico and it's legal and it'd just be a unique experience. And that's the only reason why I bought this. I don't think I would ever recommend this. You better be allergic to just about everything before I would recommend this to anybody. So let's take a look here at all of these words, and I do not know what any of them mean because my Spanish is muy problemita. Figure that one out. Okay, Tramadol. Fun times ahead. Just kidding. Oh, okay, these are capsules for some reason. I don't know why. These are tablets in the United States. I don't think it comes in a capsule. Maybe one of the combinations do. But I know straight Tramadol does not come in a capsule. Okay, so interesting thing about this, there's no markings. None whatsoever. This is completely void of any indication of what it is. And this is not okay, in my opinion. I think pills should have markings on them like they do in the United States. But I want to open this up. I'm going to turn the camera around, I think, and open it up. Okay, I wanted to open this up and see what it's like inside, but I can't really film myself doing that right now. Okay, I should be able to get this off with one hand. Okay, now let's look at that powder. Oh my gosh. This is really cool for me. I mean, this is like a controlled substance, and it's just sitting here, and I'm just looking at it. This feels very professionally made. I can feel that the powder in here has been taken care of, making it as small as possible. It doesn't smell like anything. It feels pretty coarse, but I can tell that this is very professionally made, even just by feeling it. Like, I know that this is a quality product. Now, obviously, I can't look at this and know that there's, what the ingredients are in it. But, given the fact that this is not the first time somebody has bought this product, I bet my life on it. I would feel comfortable taking this if I needed it, but I don't need it here today. Can an American take Tramadol from Mexico that they bought legally without a prescription back to the United States? Probably not. Our laws with something like that are pretty ambiguous for the most part. If you have a real medical condition, you're going to be okay. For things that are what I interpret this as, and what I've seen as far as what other people do, and what I can see is like people who have actually gotten fines and who haven't gotten fines. Controlled substances, you need a prescription. You're going to get a fine if you try to take this back to the United States. Now, does the border guard, that you talked to that day know that? I don't know. It's not a risk worth taking at all. But if you have a prescription, either from a Mexican physician or a United States physician, that's legal. Okay, whenever you Google this, I know the FDA website says no, but then it lists like 10, well, not 10, but it lists exceptions to that. And having a bona fide patient-physician relationship and having a prescription is one of the ways that personal importation for medication is completely legal. So I guess you can call it a spectrum. This is probably on the far end of being illegal, so I'm not going to take this back with me. I don't even have a reason to take it back with me, so this is just my Mexican souvenir that it's going to stay here. So there we go, folks. You can buy Tramadol in Mexico without a prescription. Very, very interesting. I wish I would have had me on film talking to the Mexican workers, the pharmacy techs or pharmacists. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. They loved me. We were trying to talk in Spanish and broken English, and we were using our translator and everything. And it's so funny because I can only say a couple sentences, and they thought I was very, very entertaining.